Okay, today we have yet another surprise from our friends over at FANTTIK. This is the NB8 NANO battery powered powerful spring on the go. What do you think could be in here? I guess we just have to open it up and take a look. I think I know what this is. They sent me a whole bunch of stuff. So I think I have an idea what this might be. And this is the prize. I think what we have here is a portable washer, like a portable pressure washer. Let's see, there must be, let's open this up. Yeah, down here in the base, there's a wand. And it is connected, so it all stores in this base. That's nice, I like that. And then I guess when you use it, you put it right here through this little slot and then put this back on here. And now you've got this little spray one. You even have a little water in it. Okay, well, we're going to go fill this up with water. First, I'm going to charge it up. Let's see, I think this is probably the USB charging port right here. Okay, I see a green flashing light. I assume that means it's charging. This is an on-off button. It's not very heavy, so I don't know how big the battery is, but it certainly isn't very heavy. And while that's charging, I'm going to go fill this tank up with water. Okay, it's still charging, but I went ahead and put some water. I didn't fill it up all the way. I filled it up maybe, did I put it in backward? There we go. FANTTIK goes on the front next where the power button is and everything. And we'll just lock it down. There are graduations here. You can see 2 liters. 4 liters, I put a little more than 4 liters in. 6 liters and 8 liters. This thing holds 8 liters. I think you have to hold this in for 2 seconds. Okay, so it is running. I'm adjusting the spray here. Get a little narrower beam. Okay, it's about like I expected. It's not super high pressure, but it's certainly good enough for knocking off some of the dust and dirt off the bike. I do this quite regularly. Normally, I use this little portable sprayer here that only holds, that much water, not much. So this I can just leave filled with water, and when I need it, I can just bring the bike in and spray it off. I think this is going to be good for light duty work. It's not going to have enough pressure to knock off a lot of grime or heavy stuff, but for cleaning windows or using what I do just to rinse off the bike occasionally just to get it clean. I took this little pressure washer outside to rinse off some of our windows and just to give it a test, and it works perfectly in this type of an application. Has just enough power to knock off the cobwebs and the dirt and the dust off the windows. I also used it just to clean off our garage door and the header of the garage door. So what I like about it is it's small and light enough that you can easily carry it around with you. I see this as a great tool for light duty rinsing and washing. You're not supposed to put any chemicals inside this tank, so you can't really use it for something like spraying you know, insecticides or chemicals or pesticides. It's not made for that. It's purely to hold water. So you don't want to run the risk of ruining the unit by putting chemicals or detergents or anything in this tank. The little hand nozzle is easily adjustable. You can go from a very wide pattern to a very narrow pattern pretty easily. What do I think this is good for? Well, in my case, I can use it to rinse off the bike. I wouldn't use it to do a real deep clean, but it's good for rinsing it off. It's also going to be good for cleaning windows, exterior windows, because you can easily carry it. It's not super heavy. Even if it's full, I think it's easily to carry. It's relatively quiet. It's not super noisy. I think it'd be great, like I say, for exterior windows and glass for rinsing them off. It's going to be good for if you're washing your pet outdoors, if you want to clean a pet. So anything outside that you just need to kind of rinse off with a little bit of pressure. I kind of like this thing. I like the form factor. I like the size of it. I like that it's not too noisy. So what are some of my final thoughts on this FANTTIK NB8 Nano? Well, I've shown you kind of how it works, and the only thing I can think of is it reminds me of when I got this Slim VA, let's see, what's it called? I can't remember their names. It's the Slim V8 Apex. This is that little vacuum cleaner, and when I got this in a few months ago, I looked at it and I said, you know, it's kind of cool, but do I really need, what do I need a little vacuum cleaner for? I use this about at least three times a week. I'm always reaching for this thing, either for the car or the motorcycle trunk or any little spot that I need to vacuum something up. And I also use the little blower on the other end. One of the best tools I've got. I would not let go of this. But when I first got it, I thought, what am I going to do with it? And I sort of feel the same way about this NB8 Nano. I'm thinking I'm going to come up with uses for this that I haven't even thought of right now. I already showed you how I used it to rinse off our outdoor windows. I think it's great for things like that. I like that the wand stores in the base, so it's very compact. You can very easily set it on a shelf. That's my thoughts on this NB8 Nano. Now, let's take a look at another pressure washer that FANTTIK has, in case you need just a little more performance. They also have the NB8 Ultra. Let's open it up, take a look inside. Uh-oh, looks like there's going to be some assembly required on this one. Here we go. Little power cable and a power brick. Okay. Pretty substantial cable with a standard like pressure washer quick disconnect on it. Nice little wand. Like a wand extender. This is the main unit here. It has the quick release latches here for the tank, or the water tank. We've got the power button on the front. Looks like we have some sort of a digital readout here. And there is actually, this is the, looks like the power where you plug the DC power port or cable in here to charge this. We've got a nice big opening here to fill this tank. Let's see if it tells us how much this tank holds. It looks like 15 liters. That is quite a bit. We've got a little nozzle here. Fits down in this little holder, and it has a handle and wheels, so you can easily roll this around. This is pretty cool looking. Okay, just like on the Nano, I'm going to go ahead and plug this in and let's let it fully charge before we put it to the test. And while it's charging, and you can see here it's got about 75% of a charge.
After filling the tank with water, you just want to make sure this yellow piece is toward the handle because it hooks over to hold it in place, and then it just pops right down. Then we just close the little latches on each side. Next, we're going to attach the wand extender to the wand, and you just twist it to lock it into place. Very sturdy and very simple. The other end of the hose has a quick disconnect that just simply snaps into the bottom of the wand. There is a safety lock built into the handle to prevent you from pulling the trigger if you need to use that. And to remove the hose from the wand, you simply lift up on the little tab and pull it free. And the spray nozzle will attach to the very end of that extender. It just clicks right into place. You can turn the end of the nozzle to get the desired spray pattern that you want for the pressure washer, which is actually very intelligent design and very elegant. My first test is going to be to clean the tires on this Lexus, and I'm using my favorite all-purpose cleaner, Super Clean. It is a great degreaser and it is super on tires. It's the best thing I've found for cleaning tires, and I personally like the aerosol. It does come in a liquid spray or it comes in aerosol, and I love the aerosol. You can see the brown gunk already starting to eat away on the surface of the tires. Super Clean also makes a tire and wheel cleaner, which is great on wheels. This I think is better on tires, but on wheels I like their wheel cleaner better. It gets rid of the brake dust and some of the other iron deposits. But you can see how it's just kind of melting away that grime on the outside of those tires. Now we're going to turn the unit on by pressing and holding the button for 2 seconds. Once the unit builds up the pressure, it does stop the pump, so you don't hear that the whole time. And I apologize for the flickering of the display. That's because of the video camera. I'm using this on the high pressure setting, which is the default setting when you first turn it on. And now let's see if we can clean off this Super Clean off this tire. The digital readout on the unit does show the PSI, and it's showing about 725 PSI right now. You can adjust the water pressure to low, medium, or high. And like I said before, it defaults to high, which is what I'm using now. Now I'm going to move the unit over to the front tire and clean it off. I'd already previously sprayed it with Super Clean. You can see the tank is about, I used about 1/3 of the tank on that rear tire. Even though it's flickering badly, you can see the PSI trying to display. It doesn't flicker without the camera. The camera is what's causing the flickering, but you can see the power level and the PSI. The NB8 Ultra does come with this little detergent bottle, which is what they call it. I wouldn't call this a foam cannon. We're going to fill it up with some car wash and see how it does. I filled the bottle about 2/3 full of car wash, and as I was looking at this, I noticed there is a little dial on top where you can adjust how much soap is entered into the stream. I'm going to install the detergent bottle onto the wand without the extender, and I set the unit to low pressure because that's what FANTTIK recommends, that you only use low pressure with the detergent bottle. So as you can see, you can adjust the amount of soap, and it's putting out a pretty foamy, frothy level of soap. Not a lot of pressure on this. Obviously it's on low pressure. But again, I'm not going to call this a foam cannon, but it does do a decent job of distributing the soapy water onto the car. it's not going to hold enough detergent to do an entire car this size. It would be perfect for a motorcycle. It would hold plenty of car wash or detergent to completely cover a motorcycle, but I'm afraid I'd have to fill this bottle up a couple of times to completely soak down a vehicle. So now I'm going to disconnect this little bottle. I'm going to put the wand extender back on and set the unit back to high pressure to rinse off all of this soap. So I'm going to disconnect the hose and roll everything up and get ready to store this, and we'll go back into the garage and I'll tell you what I think of the NB8 Ultra.
Okay, so what are some of my final thoughts on this NB8 Ultra, the larger pressure washer in the FANTTIK line? Well, let me tell you first what I like about it, and I'll tell you about some things that I'm not crazy about. First of all, I'm going to say this is a light to medium duty pressure washer. It's not a heavy duty pressure washer. There are certain things it will do, and it will do very well, but there are some things that it just simply is not designed to do. For example, for washing your car, for washing windows, for washing a motorcycle, it's going to be perfect. I'm definitely going to use it for that. And I like the fact that it can roll around. If you need more power, like for example, if you want to clean your concrete driveway, this pressure washer is really not going to have the pressure, the power that you need for a job like that. You need something like my Giraffe Tools AC powered pressure washer. I would call it more of a medium to heavy duty pressure washer. And of course, if you need more power than that, you're probably going to have to go to a gasoline-powered pressure washer. Those are pretty much your heavy-duty pressure washers. Sometimes that pressure washer is overkill for some of the things that I need to do. And it has a limitation in that it's mounted to the wall, and I've only got 100 feet of hose. If I need to clean something on the back porch, or say my charcoal grill or the windows around the house, this unit is on wheels. I can roll it around. And so it's perfect for those types of scenarios. I like the mobility of it. It also has a tremendous battery life. I never got this to go below 50%, and that was after completely washing our Lexus. As I said, it has this little foam cannon, this little gun for detergent, and it's okay. It's okay for a motorcycle. You're not going to be able to hold enough detergent to soak down an entire car, I don't believe, but it's perfect for a motorcycle or an ATV or a four-wheeler, maybe even a small boat. I did find this 4-gallon water tank to be sufficient to completely rinse off and wash our vehicle, our car. It would be more than enough, maybe twice what you would need to do a motorcycle. Now, where I see this being a really big market would be, let's say you have a trailer or a motorhome, and you take four-wheelers or ATVs or motocross bikes out and you're riding in the mud and the dirt all day long, and you don't want to load your toys back up in the trailer with all the mud and dirt on them. Perfect. You give this thing a full charge, you fill it up with water, you throw it in your trailer, you throw it in your motorhome, and at the end of the day, after you're done with your ride, you rinse everything off with this pressure. It's going to have plenty of pressure to knock off that mud and that dirt, And then you don't have to track all that back to your house on the way back or have to clean out your trailer. I like the handle and that it retracts. It doesn't take up a lot of space to store this in your garage or wherever you decide to store it. I wish they had done a little better job with the way to store your wand, because the little thing you put it in kind of can pop out and it can come loose and fall out. I kind of wish there was a better storage solution for this wand. All the quality, the build quality of this unit is very, very nice. I did not try mixing any chemicals or detergents inside this tank because I don't want to run the risk of clogging up any of the intricate valves or hoses or anything like that. So I prefer to use this just with pure, clean water. That's just my choice. I didn't mention in the video that I did install this little stand on the front. It's just a little bar. I think I showed it at the beginning of the video. I said there was going to be some assembly required. It's very simple. It just snaps in place and it just basically keeps this from tipping over forward. So anyway, that's my review of the NB8 Ultra. So how do I compare this NB8 Nano to the NB8 Ultra? Well, it's hard to do because they're really two different machines for two different purposes. For me personally, if I had to pick between these two, I would probably spend the money and get the NB8 Ultra because it can do everything that this little Nano can do. I do like the form factor of this. I like that it's lightweight and easy to carry around, but with the wheels, this one's very mobile and very easy to move around too. So this one to me has a little more capabilities, and like I say, it can do everything this can do and more. So I would probably go with the NB8 Ultra, but if all you need is some light duty hosing off, maybe washing your pets, rinsing off windows, watering plants, things like that, this would also be a fantastic unit. Now I'm going to put links in the description of this video. You can buy either of these or both of these on Amazon, and I have Amazon links, and it does help the channel if you purchase through those links. I'll also put links to these on the FANTTIK website should you choose to purchase directly from FANTTIK. So anyway, that's my review. Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed the video, please do me a favor, give this video a thumbs up. If you have any questions about either of these, or if you have an application that you'd like to see these tried on in the future, I can always do a follow-up review and we can test it out. So put that in the comment section down below. It'd be much appreciated. Thank you, FANTTIK, for sending these to me to test and review. And until I see you on the next Cruiseman's Reviews, remember what I always say, ride often, but ride safe.